are out there and their aim is to con you, so you need to be vigilant, especially if you decide to go downtown. Sometimes things may not go the way you expected. You might buy a product only to reach home and realize that it was switched, that what you have at home is not what you actually paid for. So you really need to be extra careful with your transactions, but also safeguard your property, safeguard your pocket, your wallet, because also con artists are on a rampage right now. Now, for us here at Good Morning Uganda, we are here to usher you into this beautiful morning and, of course, see how you can go through your day by giving you insights and, of course, news and headlines. I have a team with me, that is Chantal Olive Akandinda, Robert Chirabo Nyonyintono, and Jerome Paul Sonko. Good morning, Sonko.
Yes, good morning. How are you?
I'm great.
Good morning to our dear viewers. I hope you're feeling energetic as I am for this Thursday morning. Yesterday, President Museveni was launching and giving out money to ghetto youth circles. Something that caught my attention is the fact that there is a lot of emphasis when it comes to, you know, uplifting Ugandans in the ghetto or the youth in the ghetto. Because when you also look at these particular numbers, you do realize, I think the NRM government realized it had not paid a lot of attention to the people in those settlements, or what we could definitely call slum areas. But when you look back in the last 5-10 years, there have been lots of initiatives to ensure that at least these people are ideally uplifted, given the chances to survive. And after having endorsed initially 10 saving circles and cooperatives for the youth, especially in ghetto areas in Kampala, you get to realize that this particular launch by the president, which had quite a number of young people in there, I think it is time for us to start appreciating the Ugandans who come from there, because they do have a lot of talent. Besides the talent, they also have a very huge say in regards to the political settings of this country. But well in to all those who are taking part in the same, while the president was launching, a very, very good welcome back from the same, if that word even exists. But I did see quite a number of young people who were strolling down Kololo ceremonial grounds yesterday after that event. That was at around 4:30 p.m. And it was a good kind of image to watch.
And the president also noted that money is readily available if the youth can work together to access it. So it's all about organization. No individual person is going to receive the money on their own, but you need to be under a circle, if I may add to what Sonko has shared with us. Good morning, Chantal.
Good morning, Olive. How are you today?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm very well. I'm trying to catch on Sonko's energy. Usually he walks in and he's like, no, it's a good morning, it's a good day, it's a good week. So I'm trying to catch on that energy. But I'm very well, and I'm hoping that our dearest viewer is also doing well. And well, welcome to the show. It is a Thursday. We're closing into the Christmas weekend. Just so you know, Christmas is on Monday. So hopefully you adapt for the celebrations, but also you are keeping well. Also, do note that there is a flu that is really strong out there. Please be mindful, take care of yourself. Yes, please be mindful, take care of yourself. And there's also a warning from the World Health Organization of a new variant, so please be aware of that.
Yes, you should take good care of yourself. Now, Chirabo, we are heading into Christmas. Like Chantal said, Christmas is on Monday. I'm curious to know about your plans come that day.
Lovely morning to you, the team, and of course our viewers. Thank you so much for waking up with us on Good Morning Uganda. Now, to me, Christmas has always been family time. And of course, even here in Uganda, most of the people who travel to the village, it's family time, though I never go to church on Christmas.
Why? Why not?
I want to give other people an opportunity that have not regularly been coming to church.
Interesting.
Yeah, for us who are always there, my church is Life Church. Namasura, I have Pastor Richard and Dora Senko doing a very good work. I love you, my pastors. But for some reasons, I've always asked myself, even when I was growing up, why is it that churches are overcrowded on Christmas and these other days they don't come? These other Sundays, they don't come.
Especially traditional
Us,
churches.
who fundraise, who give our tithe every end of month, when we get some dues, who buy those chairs, who stand with the work of God. You know, you come to church once on Christmas, you find it is painted, you have new chairs. These days we've installed CCTV cameras. First time yes! The first time I was like, I first met that in Ntinda.
You know, churches.
It's St. Luke, and I saw cameras everywhere. Like, but why are we even installing CCTV cameras in church? Only to see when it came closer to my door. Now, for us, then on that particular day, those who have had new hairstyles, new clothes, they come to church, squeeze us, show off, because they don't even know the mannerism, the etiquette around there. For us, we know we don't pick mobile phones, our pastor has been telling us. So I just get irritated, and I decided not to spoil my Christmas.
But nonetheless,
church
you know, nonetheless, as church, you're supposed to be welcoming for this, to what we could call the outside world, or the sinners, regardless.
Yes,
And
so
you know,
now
it's
you're
always
running away
It was
from
the same
them.
kind of conversation people were having yesterday on social media in regards to the fact that church did not grant the body of Sobi, you know, for the last prayers
they
and the
should
like.
have.
So everyone was
should have.
wondering, why are we being judgmental, yet it is
It's
supposed
not in
to
our
be
place
No,
to
it's
judge.
not
Yes.
being judgmental. I can speak for the church,
It is
although
being
not
judgmental in a
authoritatively.
ways.
The church has tenets. For instance, if someone has committed suicide, let's say the Catholic Church is under no obligation to pray for a soul of someone who self-deleted, because in the faith that is frowned upon. The same applies to someone that was a known murderer. Now, they will pray for you if you did, there are those prayers they normally have before someone died. You know, the sacraments. Did they give you the sacraments? Let's say you were bedridden and you confessed your sins before passing. If not, if you've been a Catholic, you will know that these are things the church frowns upon, and they will not pray for your soul when you pass. At least that's how I understand it. Yeah. So I think we need to also understand
even,
the
now they have
principles and
tried to be a
tenets
little
of
bit
certain
dilute.
churches.
But
You
in
know-
the olden days, 10 decades, about 3 decades back, or okay, like 50 years back, even you not being a person who attends church,
They would not pray for
they will
you.
not pray for you,
know,
because
you know,
had-
there's a funny saying, a casual saying in Kampala, that it is so funny if someone goes to a bar, and as you're leaving the bar, any stranger can drop you home. And while you go to church, not everyone is willing to take you home, but you're from praying in the same, you know, facility.
A
And in
church
a bar,
is a
it is more like
rehabilitation
a
center.
welcoming place.
Jerome
I don't
Paul,
want to believe so.
I understand the church as a rehabilitation center. So
it should
not
be a
everyone
center
you
of,
find there.
Why does it segregate?
Yes.
No, hear me out. Not everyone you find in the church. That's why lately, when you're in church, they will tell you, hold on to your children, hold on to your bag, because some people have come to church, but probably they have not yet changed. So you cannot say, because I'm in the church, I'll just let anyone sit in my car. What if you're taking a robber?
Oh, let me tell you, you now even know how the baskets that previously, when we were young, the baskets that were used to put our offertory. Today, church has changed. Now they have things you can only, it's like a bag in nature,
Yes.
where you can only drop, you can't remove.
Because
A
some
person would
people
come
had
with
long hands, long
5,000
fingers.
and pick a
As a person who is used to
50,000
giving
note.
people lots of chances
So-
in my life, I believe believers and, of course, the sinners, I should say, or termed as the
We are-
sinners.
The Bible
We
says,
really need to
come
welcome
as you
everybody.
are, but when you come as you are, you must change.
Until we see that change.
Until we see the change.
Church
So-
must be the most judgmental.
But I
area.
want
It's
to ask
not
our
being
brother,
judgmental.
And honestly speaking, if we're to really put some of these things right, I'm not really castigating the church or anything, but if we are preaching a certain gospel, if we are saying we are all God's children and all that,
Yes.
it doesn't have to pray for the person's soul. You're interceding, actually that's the word I was looking for. You are interceding
You
for
have
this,
to win
for
the
this soul.
souls
And
every day.
Chantal, as a born-again Christian like me, I'll tell you that sometimes we are also advised to choose our battles. Sometimes you'll choose to pray for someone whose demons are way beyond you, and you end up
done
taking
your-
on
you
a
have
battle
done- you have
that
done your part.
cannot,
Why is the God
and
you're
you
trusting
end up
then?
taking on a battle that you may not be able to finish. You remember the pastor who tried to ban Yaongo, things of witchcraft, and he ended up dying.
No, but there is always a battle you're definitely going to
So you need to
win.
ask the Holy
Winning a
Spirit,
soul
should
may
I
not
be
be
praying
as
for this
easy,
person
but
or
you can
not?
try.
But we must understand that religion and faith, even in the biblical days, had principles.
Yes.
Okay.
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 Had principles. If you know you're born a Catholic and you're a Catholic, you know what you must do.
You know that
if you're a
tenets and
you know that if
principles of the
I went to
Catholic
church and married Najuma, we were wedded, and now I have a Chantal somewhere, I don't go for Holy Communion. Because our constitution says that. If you're Catholic, you know, if these are my acts, I don't go to church. I have not shown any relationship with God.
They will not also marry you.
You
The
know,
little
they'll
much
not
I
even
understand.
wed you. So if religion was just, and even in biblical days, even Jesus Christ, there were principles even when he was doing his mission on
That's
earth.
why he couldn't start his mission up until a certain age.
So we must understand that we can't erode these in our faith, in our religions. And please, I argue, please don't only go to church on Christmas.
Well, regarding the going to church on Christmas, at my church, Worship Harvest, we say that church begins on Monday and Sunday is garage time. That's when we go to, you know, get service from God. So you should be praying from Monday, and then Sunday you go to garage. No, what we mean is you can pray to God in your bedroom, in your car, every single day. Then on Sunday, you go for service, which is garage time. That being said, let's give you the news right this minute.
Well, I'm going to start with the money. The story of money. Now, President Yoweri Museveni injected 1.2 billion shillings in ghetto youth circles that were launched yesterday at Kololo Independence Grounds. This is startup capital shall be divided between 12 circles that have been formed in Kampala Metropolitan. Ghetto youths in Kampala Metropolitan ended the year with a smile on their faces after President Museveni giving them 100 million shilling startup capital in their circle. In his speech, President Museveni noted that money is readily available and it only requires youth to work together to be able to access the money. Museveni added that 100 million per circle is just start up, but if utilized well, he has plans to add the ghetto youths more money.
And moving on, as Mathias Mpuga's term as leader of the opposition in parliament expires this month, December 2023, he says he is ready to hand over the responsibility if his party bosses decide to replace him with another person. Mpuga said this during his opposition midterm performance review meeting at Parliament earlier yesterday. The leader of the opposition in Parliament, Mathias Mpuga, has urged Ugandans to acknowledge his team's accomplishments despite significant government interference. Speaking at the opposition midterm performance review meeting at Parliament, Mpuga emphasized the substantial success achieved during his 2.5-year tenure, which concludes this month. Among the key challenges he highlighted is the government's deliberate refusal to recognize the opposition's role.
And moving on, government disowned a self-confessed criminal and leader of a deadly Kifesi gang, Pade Serunjoje. The late, who was murdered on Monday this week, claiming to enjoy state protection while giving protection to land grabbers. While addressing journalists at the media center, Godfrey Chabyanga, State Minister for National Guidance, disregarded claims that Sobi was a government employee, calling out those with evidence to avail it.
In other news, residents of Chitehurira village, Chabandara parish in Kamwenge sub-county, Kamwenge district are fleeing their ancestral homes after an attack by the Allied Democratic Forces the night before yesterday, which resulted in the brutal murder of 10 people. Residents express their fears, seeking asylum in neighboring areas until they receive assurance from security about the safety of their lives. Residents say ADF rebels who attacked their villages, none of the security organs was available, and they are suspecting to be attacked again since they are not seeing any security personnel patrolling the area. Well, now we move on to the news on the international scene.
On the international scene, a sub-variant of the Omicron strain of coronavirus has been identified as a variant of interest by the World Health Organization because of its rapidly increasing spread. JN1 has been found in many countries around the world, including India, China, UK, and the United States. The risk to the public is currently low, and current vaccines continue to offer protection, the World Health Organization says. But it warns COVID and other infections could rise this winter. Respiratory viruses such as flu, respiratory syncytial virus, and childhood pneumonia are also on the rise in the Northern Hemisphere. The virus, which causes COVID, is constantly changing over time, and sometimes this leads to new variants developing. Omicron has been the globally dominant variant for some time. Moving on, at least 20,000 people have been killed in the Gaza Strip since Israel began bombarding the enclave more than 10 weeks ago, according to the Palestinian officials. At least 8,000 children and 6,200 women are among those killed, Gaza's government media office said on Wednesday. The grim milestone was passed as the United Nations Security Council postponed a key vote on a bid to boost humanitarian aid for Gaza for the third time to avoid a veto from the United States, which traditionally shields its ally Israel from UN action. Since a 7-day truce collapsed on December 1st, the war has entered a more intensive phase with ground combat, previously confined to the northern half of the territory, now spreading across its length. When asked about the ever-growing casualty count, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken said it's clear that the conflict will move and needs to move to a lower intensity phase. Coming back to Africa, voters in the DR Congo are due to go to the polls again today in a general election marked by severe logistical troubles that meant some polling stations never opened. The impoverished but mineral-rich Central African nation, East African nation, staged 4 concurrent elections on Wednesday to pick a president, national and regional lawmakers, as well as local councillors. President Felix Tshisekedi, 60, is running for a second term in office against a backdrop of years of economic growth, but little job creation and soaring inflation. But the vote on Wednesday was marked by massive delays nationwide, with the Electoral Commission still attempting to deliver material to voting stations long after polls were meant to have opened. In some areas, polls never opened, leaving people unable to cast ballots. Dennis Kadima, the head of Electoral Commission, declared on national television on Wednesday night that places unable to vote that day would vote on Thursday. And lastly, speaking matters climate, at least 100 elephants have died in Zimbabwe because of drought, with the most being babies and elderly, as conservationists warned about the impacts of climate change. The tragic deaths occurred in Zimbabwe's largest national park, Hwange National Park, due to an extended dry season. Authorities warned that more could die as forecasts suggest a scarcity of rains and rising heat in the southern African nation, including the national park affected by the El Nino weather phenomenon. El Nino is making an already dire situation worse, said Tinashe Farao, spokesman of the Zimbabwe National Parks and Wildlife Management Authority. El Nino is a natural and recurring weather phenomenon that warns parts of the Pacific, warms part of the Pacific, affecting weather patterns around the world. That is it for climate news and also what is happening in some parts of the world.
Thank you, Chantal Olive. Jerome Paul Sonko, please take us through the dailies.
Well, when it comes to our local dailies this morning, we start off with the New Vision to see what is making headlines at the front pages of it. And with the New Vision, why local councils term was extended is the bigger headline. The local council chairperson's elections pushed to next year, 2024. Read about that in the New Vision this morning. Then furthermore, in the new year, NRM lists top priorities for 2024. Which are those? New Vision is giving you more of the same. Now, also looking further, President Museveni gives the ghetto youth 1.2 billion Ugandan shillings, a pictorial of the president waving to the youth yesterday at the Kololo ceremonial grounds is at the front page of the New Vision. Then also in court, Ogwen to serve 25-year jail term in Norway after the court ruling. And also you can also as well read about ringleader returns, lives over 270 in Ethiopia, doomsday escapes. Now also read about going to the next election cycle without reforms is suicidal, according to the leader of opposition, that is Matthias Mpuga. Then also looking at the Daily Monitor, still at the front page this morning, government slams brakes on Christmas fairs. More of the same in the Daily Monitor. Charm offensive. Museveni gives 1.2 billion shillings to ghetto youth circles. That is at the front page of the Daily Monitor. Now, Kamwenge residents flee after village raid. Then DM today, couples share their plans for the holidays. You can read something or two if you're in a relationship. Then in the other news, plan underway to reduce park fees for vehicles. Then Sipapa faces 13 charges and trial starts next month. This particular charge is also inclusive of his wife. And then regional 60,000 women-led businesses get 815 billion Ugandan shillings. How will they disperse this particular money? Then war victims demand cattle compensation. That is with the Daily Monitor. Let's cross the borders now to Kenya. The Daily Nation, Nyakango governors in row overspending. Nyakango and the governors are in row overspending. That is in Kenya. Now, Pope didn't approve same-sex unions, says Kenyan bishop, the Kenyan Catholic bishops. Then also, national news, head of Ruto's media team lands top CA job. Then in the Africa news, polls open in DRC amid violence in nation's east. As business, good news as Sacco savings cross 1 trillion Kenyan shillings. Then book serialization, Botella, Tom Mboya assassination, and the Kisumu bloodbath. Read about the days of Kenya's independence era. Now, lastly, the Citizen from Tanzania, the Bank of Tanzania says 2023 growth to cross 5%. Then also, what fastest mobile operator tag means for Tigo's digital ambitions. Read about that in the Citizen. In sport and in regards to football, Yanga back on track after emphatic win. Then opposition looks back at an eventful year in Tanzania 2023. The DRC, citizens vote in peaceful elections. That is what the Citizen is highlighting this particular Thursday. And well, that is it for our press review this morning.
Now, in the spirit of Christmas and in the spirit of throwing back, because today is Throwback Thursday, here is Bonnie M with Feliz Navidad.
Live from UPC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
the day on UBC. Was brought to you by
MTN Momo Pay is the easy way to pay. Dial star 165 star 3 hash or use the MTN Momo app. You don't need cash. MTN Momo Pay is safe and free.
Previously, in most of these areas that we had prioritized, farmers would produce, but you don't access market because the roads are not there. So you have the middlemen that would have access and they persevere to go into those deep in the villages and they buy with their own prices. They can go there and set prices for you, and yet you're the ones who are producing this food. But now this time with the market linkages, people can now access market because we have bridges that were, streams that were bottlenecks to access by the farmers. It has constructed bridges, some farmers can now reach market.
Junko. Yo. Check the shopping, man. What's your secret?
Haven't you heard of the parish development model PDM?
Yes, I did, but I thought it was just a talk.
No, it is real. I and a few friends together formed a circle, accessed money from the PDM, invested in a poultry project, and now things are moving.
Junko. I thought I was one of your friends.
You are,
but you left me behind.
I didn't leave you in poverty. What you do, just visit your LC2 chairperson and your parish chief and start the process of economic transformation. Just like that. The parish development model is an initiative from the government of Uganda through the Ministry of Local Government designed to transform all lives of Ugandans for the better. PDM, my parish, my development, my life.
UBC is the national public broadcaster. We educate, inform, entertain, and inspire our audiences. You can watch us on free-to-air channel 001, DSTV channel 282, GoTV channel 371, Star Times channel 201, Zugu TV channel 20, and Azam TV channel 350. Even when your subscription expires, you can still watch UBC for free on your pay TV platforms.
And welcome to the Good Morning Uganda Newsreel. I'm Olive Monica Najuma, and this is where we have conversations that pertain to issues that you and I are grappling with in various spheres of our lives. Now, I'm joined by Chantal Olive Kandinda and Jerome Paul Sonko. Now today we know that artificial intelligence has become part and parcel of our lives. When I speak about artificial intelligence, I mean applications like ChatGPT, where a human may not want to do the work. You just ask a question or ask ChatGPT to write for you a proposal and it will do everything for you. Now it is said that AI has really penetrated the workforce today, but the older workforce is struggling with adoption. So what measures can be adopted to ensure that the older workforce can also learn and understand and also be able to use AI? Now, Chantal, Olive, and of course Jerome Paul will be having this conversation with me. But before we start, statistics show that the people born in 1986 and around 1991 are the ones that are favorably using artificial intelligence or efficiently using artificial intelligence. Now, people around 50 and above are struggling, and they raise many issues as to why it is becoming harder and harder for them to be able to use artificial intelligence in their places of work. But first of all, let's define what artificial intelligence means. Jerome Paul, please walk us through what artificial intelligence means and which ways is it being used? Give us some examples as well.
Let me just use it in a way. Let me just define it in the four major categories. It's it's identified. You look at it being a technological tool that enhances or that does that is effective. Let me just say effective, more effective than any other technology machines that we're used to, and it tends to make work quite easier. Because when you also look at the reactive, it is more reactive. It is, it has limited memory. Let's say it has, it helps work on the limited memory. So it's more like intelligence that is artificial, intelligence that can be programmed. To help you go through whatever you want to have, or in case you have an issue, or in case you have, because when you look at the AI kind of types that we do have here, there is also an element of self-awareness, whereby we've seen people, for example, those who use the chat GPT that you've actually used as an example of the artificial intelligence. It can ideally tell you about humanity, but it's more of a program. And the like. But looking at it deeply as well, you get to realize that it is giving room of advancement in technology. And what I do understand as artificial intelligence, it is more like technology that is here to make life simpler for everybody. Okay. Regardless of how it is going to affect us and the like.
All right. So now that we have unpacked and understood what AI means, I would also like to know, how does it really work? Is it task specific? Will AI know what I need? How do different workplaces include AI into their systems?
No, most of them are using computers. First, let's look at the evolution of computers, because for those who use the artificial intelligence, most people are using computers, but lest we forget, we also have people who are using now robots in their companies. If you're to look at the artificial intelligence widely, looking at it as an intelligence of machines, software, and all the like, opposed to the intelligence of human beings or animals.
So is AI smarter than humans? Would you say?
In one way or the other.
No, it is...
because it is programmed by us, it is not smarter. But the chances are it is doing the smart work than we're doing.
Chantal?
AI is meant to do what human beings do.
But even better at it.
Do it better or more efficiently?
More efficiently. I wouldn't say better, but do it more efficiently.
The better part
That's what.
Is there somehow.
Well, better because it seems to be in some cases more accurate, but it cannot be better than the person who made it.
Who programs it.
Yes.
So what I remember as the president was giving a speech at a certain event where he said, yes, we have this technology and it is taking us to the next level, but we also have to be careful on the ways it can actually harm us. So speaking of the same, how exactly, what risks do we face by using AI? Does the workforce face when we include and let AI penetrate the workforce so much, whereby it is actually now doing tasks that humans were doing prior?
I think the challenge I have found, one of the challenges I've found with AI is that in a way, there is a limitation to creativity. And this is because artificial intelligence uses algorithm. And because of that, it's only based on a set of rules and calculations or patterns, and that puts a limit. Yet for us as human beings, our creativity is limitless. You can't limit how creative someone can be, and that's the first challenge you're going to face. So there is a limitation to creativity, but also there is laziness that is being birthed. Slowly, we are not seeing it, but there is laziness that is being birthed. Of course, also linked to creativity. But imagine you need a write-up from me, and I just sit on my computer, chat GPT, and I just put the question or the sentence, and I get very many options. And
so you're not growing as a person.
I'm not growing. All I'm doing is I have a sense of comfort, and all I'm doing is I'm giving you results, yes, but there is something lacking. There's a human element lacking. I did a bit of research earlier this year, and I had to put together some work, and someone would tell me, Chantal, you're making your life hard. Just use ChatGPT. Yes. And I tell them, listen, this work is personalized, and ChatGPT cannot give you personalized work. Because if I'm writing a story of change about you, there is no way ChatGPT is going to give me a story about you.
It will not do an in-depth interview with someone to get to understand them as you're doing your research, so that you put it down in your story.
So that limitation, because for it, like I said, it follows algorithm, it follows patterns, a set of rules. There is that kind of limitation, and because it's a more comfortable space and gives results maybe faster, we tend to get inclined to it. But at the end of the day, we are actually I'm looking for the word to use.
Ourselves?
We are limiting ourselves. We are sabotaging ourselves. I'm still trying to get the right word to use, but you know,
with the writers' strike back in the US, in Hollywood, by writers I mean those ones that come up with the scripts that make the movies that all of us enjoy. It's been said that now producers may resort to using the AI to come up with scripts, but then the fear is that we now may have movies that we can't relate with. Because because AI is not emotional. No, so if I want to create a suspense that is going to make Chantal, reduce Chantal to tears, or to reflect and resonate with a certain scene, AI may not give you that. So I hear you when you say we will be we will be limiting ourselves, and creativity will take a death blow, which is really sad. But now coming back to the workforce, and especially the older workforce. Now here I'm speaking about people that are maybe around 48, 50, 52 onwards. It has been found that they're having difficulty adopting to AI. What do you think is the issue here?
Let's agree that the generation that starts from about 85 or 86, like you put it, is more tech savvy than the older ones. The time they went to school was different from the times now. And look at a 50-year-old and whose eyes are failing, whose health is having challenges, and you're telling them, listen, you're learning a new program, you're learning a new system that is going to be incorporated. These people are not as fast as we are. If we sat down to type, you know, even just typing off a computer, I'm not even supposed to be looking at the keyboard. I'm supposed to be looking at what I'm typing. So in my mind, I have to have captured that G is here, I is here, O is here, the 9 is here, the 1 is here. I'm not supposed to look at the keyboard. But even there, I'm looking for the word to use to mean fast. How fast they can be, it is also limited, because the time has run out.
What is the retirement age?
The retirement age is 65.
The time has not run out if I'm 50.
No, you know, by the time you clock 65, that means that's what it means.
No, also,
but we have people who have reached retirement age and their contracts have been extended because they're still in good form. They're working out. They're healthy and they're still lucid enough.
No, we also need to look at also the impact it has, especially with the kind of technology it comes with. Because for you to easily use the artificial intelligence, first off, for example, if you have to look at the workspaces, you need to be very active and you need to be very efficient with how you use these personal computers or even the smartphone itself. because now even with, let's say, ChatGPT, you can access it on phone. And some of the elderly who are in these workspaces who say it is quite difficult for them to adopt to the same, is they would say at times even their eyesight, you know, is a contribution to, you know, is a contribution to the reason as to why they do not have a lot of time on their hands, like we the young ones. Because as a young one, you're still energetic.
The body,
you know,
yes.
your body is still allowing you to do all the things. You can go all night seated on the computer, however unhealthy it is, but you can still do it. Right. But when you look at a certain age, in most cases, you realize most of them may not have that time. And there's also an argument which is rather subjective, according to my understanding, that some of them say they do have a lot of duties they have to fulfill, including family, where they have to take care of their children. It is all detailed in some of the reports coming up that they do have to take care of their children.
They're saying they don't have enough time. They have work, they have to learn these new things, then they have families as well, and then they have health issues.
So health issues, I think the health issues is rather very serious one, because as your health is you know, becoming a priority more so as you're aging, because of all these you know, complications that normally come with age and the like, it becomes even more difficult for you to have time with, you know, sitting on the computer. You can as well even look at it in this way. If you sit on your phone for some long hours, you'll feel some pain, not only with your eyes. Your eyes will start itching, but also your brain. There is a way your brain, you know, feels programmed to only focus on your phone, and you become less productive.
But if okay, I understand where you're coming from, but what would you say to someone who says all these things that are being brought up could be just excuses because AI is here to actually make your life easier?
True, because it is here to also stay.
Like I said, for the generation that is between 85 and above,
even those in 70s, some of them know how to use.
They know how to use, but when you talk about someone being tech savvy, you're looking at how easy it is for them to adopt and to use these systems, to use these tools.
Because they've grown up.
Because they've grown up in that generation, or they've literally transitioned with it. But now you're looking at someone who has to adopt from the direct opposite of what we are seeing right now. One, you're dealing with mindsets. Two, you're dealing with people's physical ability as well, and those two alone are limitations. Because someone's going to tell you, how do you manage to hold your phone for 10 minutes and you even work from the phone? I could not manage to do that. The reason as to why they're telling you they cannot manage is because what they grew up seeing and what they knew is not what is happening right now. So even just their mindset shifting from the fact that things are different now to what is new, they look at it as wasting time, they look at it as laziness.
That you can just ask Siri a question.
And Siri will answer,
which
yes.
was Chantal born?
You know, the worry is with the lazy part, because even university vice chancellors did come up with a report saying it is making students more lazy. Where in a time when, you know, the time when students would go in and do research, extensive research, discuss, you're given the coursework, you have to make sure you're reading. But with artificial intelligence, it becomes very easy for you to just hand in your coursework, even on the D-Day, or let's say on the deadline. And then not only that, you look at the fact that it has made them so lazy that they no longer have to use their brains to think. Okay. And that kind of generation that we have is definitely no longer going to be thinking for itself, if you're to put it in that way, because they definitely know they do have an answer to something out there.
So isn't this the time when universities, after realizing what AI is doing and how students are abusing it in not learning but actually being lazy, isn't this the time when universities should come up with software? Yes. Where maybe this is actually, we are talking about AI, but I don't you think that to solve AI problems, we still need AI?
I think they
because there needs to be software that can actually check and see. Now we need probably to go away from the analog of handing in courseworks that have already been typed and
you
printed out.
Yes.
You hand them in. Don't you think that if we could adopt handing them in via, let's say, email, then software could check, online portals, thank you, maybe software then could check and see that this work is not original. There is, because I know that CIM does that. You if you're a student of marketing, you cannot use ChatGPT to actually write your work.
I've also seen it with,
they have a
most of the
software where
international
they
universities
check
here.
For plagiarism and to be sure that you didn't use ChatGPT. Shouldn't universities also adopt this?
They can. But you see, the only worry is, Olive, when you do realize the issue with our technology is that the people who are in the positions of making these right decisions are the last people to adopt the technology.
Okay.
It's more like they are the decision makers, but they first have bias towards the same. So it's more like they first get against it
and that's why
before they see
the
importance.
That's why we're having the conversation of the elderly.
Yes.
Because they're the ones that hold these offices.
And they are the ones who are supposed to be initiating these conversations and say, since we are adopting to this world, let's
put control.
But it's more like it's a generation versus a generation.
And it wasn't, I hear you, it wasn't until COVID-19 that we even embraced online studying. If it wasn't for that, many universities couldn't hear none of it.
And even some parents do not take universities that do teach via online platforms as serious.
But could it,
so it tells you a lot about the age gap and the kind of
well, you can be part of this conversation through WhatsApp number 0709602592, or you can go to our X app and leave your comment there. We will read it, and we are asking you what measures can be adopted so that the older generation or the older workforce can adopt artificial intelligence in places of work. Chantal, you had something to say.
I did. You know, much as we are looking at our generation, looking and some other generations, seeming as if lazy because we are adopting to artificial intelligence. Have you imagined or have you considered that maybe these elderly that we are talking about are also lazy and refusing deliberately to adopt to technology that is meant to even ease some of their work? Give an example. Imagine this person who is supposed to use a particular system to have records on the system, not a pile of files. Because I really don't expect to walk into someone's office right now and then they're going through different boxes trying to get a particular file. It should be on the portal. It should be on a particular system. You get it. So shouldn't we maybe look at the fact that they're also being lazy and failing or deliberately refusing, adamantly refusing or adamantly failing to adopt to artificial intelligence? Because what other reason would you give? I mean, even us, we were not born tech savvy. We actually take the time to learn. We spend some time on these systems trying to learn how they work. So if we can do it, I believe, I mean, all these goals, they can do it.
In 2015, my mother didn't know how to use a smartphone.
Can I be a devil's advocate for a minute? Maybe you are speaking from a privileged position because you're saying we took the time to learn. But you see, back then, even computers were a site, like you just go to the computer lab, if you were lucky enough to see one, just look at it and that's it. So probably you have been able, and I'm being a devil's advocate here, you have been able, you have been able to access certain resorces that they were never able to access, but still now going back.
And they're landing curves.
But let's look at the solutions.
Still on you being the devil's advocate. Should we really now sit and start, pitting ourselves for not having the privilege years back? No. I mean, government now provides, say, for example, a computer. I'm giving an example.
Okay.
In an office.
That's why we are having this conversation today. And I'll start with you. What measures can government put in place, and even other places of work, what measures can they adopt to ensure that the older workforce adopts or warms up to artificial intelligence in places of work?
Number one, trainings are really important. and trainings, 1 in physical handling, 2 in mindset change. Like I told you, the hindrance between this elderly workforce and artificial intelligence, the hindrance is only in mindset. They are looking at it as it has done more harm than good. We shall have that conversation another time. But I mean, let's look at how do we make work fast, how do we make systems faster, how do we make delivering a lot easier. And in this case, we are saying we can apply artificial intelligence. So there is need for these conversations. I mean, why would my grandfather think that because I'm in a school and I study online, I can be in my bedroom and I'm studying, why would he say he doesn't get it yet? I can actually study and get good grades. You get it? So that's the point where I'm saying we need to have the conversation and do a whole mindset change when it comes to these people to enable them understand how these systems work better. So because from a level of understanding, they would be able to adopt. Then the physical handling. Go through the trainings, train these people how to use even the tabs.
Actually, we are speaking about the older workforce, but I also know members of parliament and cabinet ministers that were given tablets and they didn't know how to work their way around them.
Training.
So we still go back to training.
Yes, training.
Jerome Paul, what other measures should be adopted to ensure that the older workforce warms up to technology in general, really, and of course, artificial intelligence?
I'll start with what you mentioned earlier, that artificial intelligence is here to make life easier. It's more effective, however much it is programmed, and the output at times comes out the same way, because most of the artificial intelligence kind of machines do not have that memory output that a human being will have, that if you did something yesterday, you can remember and do a change. If at all it failed. But also the fact that it works, it can, cut the cost of production in a way that if you're a business person and you do not have a lot of money to accommodate many employees, you can use it. However, it becomes very difficult and harsh for Ugandans who are seeking for jobs, because then you're cutting their chances of getting. But when it comes to what should be done for us to take charge, I think it is first of all accepting the fact that we are in a technological, technological world. Because when you sit down and still see the revolutions that have been coming up from time to time, every new thing that comes up always has people who are against it. But the funny part about life is that technology comes up. Back in the time, we had the only mobile phones that were there. I remember you people giving examples of big.
You just made me feel like
the big ones. And then we went on to what I call the Kapesa. The times of the Kapesa, where we could definitely see it was time for us to move into that direction.
And then we moved to flip phones,
twist phones. Then there came in smartphones and the like. And when also the smartphones were coming in, not everybody was buying the idea of the same. But with time, understanding and accepting that there is change. Because remember, the more the world is evolving and we take time to evolve with it, that is how we are lagging behind as a country. Because we do have people who go out, let's say, for studies abroad, or those who go and work abroad. Every time they return to bring back the knowledge to us, where we've not picked up from where they left us, it becomes very difficult for us to compete with other countries in regards to development. So the first thing I think is for us to accept, we as Ugandans, that here is the change. Now, how are we going to get part of this change? It goes back to Chantal's issue. Get to accept that now it is time for me to learn how to use it. Because like you said, having members of parliament who do not have, who do not know how to use a tablet, it takes us back to the fact that Ugandans still complain and say, why are we using all that money to buy such things? Yet the people don't even know how to use them.
Also, as we speak, there is one thing we have not really looked into, and it is the fact that in as much as we have this AI with us here, and many people having phones and other gadgets, we also need to understand there are still young people who don't know anything about AI, because many schools do not actually have these equipment.
That is limited a lot to international schools.
International schools and some upscale schools in the city. There are many children that have never touched a computer. that don't know their way around a tab. So in as much as we are now focusing on the older workforce, we need to understand that these schools also need these resources for young people out there to also embrace AI even more. I have one comment coming in from you didn't leave your name. Kindly leave your name next time. And he says, I am 63 years old, and I bet you I know more about IT than most young people in this country. And he said, how many schools in Uganda provide IT facilities to their students? Well, that comment will
Especially
be...
even when you look at government schools.
Yes.
Even schools settled in up country. You know, that issue of having these computers available or IT devices is a very big issue. Even internet in schools.
Well, with that comment, we will be ending this conversation. Thank you so much for being a part of it. Good Morning Uganda continues.
Of the day on UBC. Was brought to you by
MTN Momo Pay is the easy way to pay. Dial star 165 star 3 hash or use the MTN Momo app. You don't need cash. MTN Momo Pay is safe and free.
Jinko.
Yo.
What you go? Check the shopping, man. What's your secret?
Uganda wange, haven't you heard of the parish development model PDM?
Yes, I did, but I thought it was just a talk.
No, Sebatia. It is real. I and a few friends together formed a circle, accessed money from the PDM, invested in a portrait project, and now things are moving.
Jinko. I thought I was one of your friends.
You are.
But you left me behind.
I didn't leave you in poverty. What you do, just visit your LC2 chairperson and your parish chief and start the process of economic transformation. Just like that. The parish development model is an initiative from the government of Uganda through the Ministry of Local Government designed to transform all lives of Ugandans for the better. PDM, my parish, my development, my life.
UBC is the national public broadcaster. We educate, inform, entertain, and inspire our audiences. You can watch us on free-to-air channel 001, DSTV channel 282, GoTV channel 371, Star Times channel 201, Zuku TV channel 20, and Azam TV channel 350. Even when your subscription expires, you can still watch UBC for free on your pay TV platforms.
Hello, good morning. It's a bright Thursday morning and the 21st of December is here whether you want it or not. Christmas has hit in, and people are just doing things the way they want. People are driving the way they want. It is this time of the when people are just in that mood of enough is enough. Like, I've done enough for 2023, and whatever that has not I have not covered, I'm going to do it early, very early in 2024. And this is the time that I tell you that it is the best time for you to travel, to go and refresh your mind. Like, what better ways there for you to shove off what you've achieved, what you've not achieved, the disappointments, betrayals of the year, and in a new place. Like, you need to wake up in a place that you've never been to, in a place that has beautiful sceneries, waking up to voices like maybe daddy come and see an elephant, but you only want to be in your home watching TV. Like, go somewhere outside your normal lives and just enjoy, just get off whatever's been in 2023 and set your mind to 2024. Well, I'm Irene Alenamisang, and welcome to the DMU Tourism Express. This is where we take you through Uganda's tourism, taking you through around different places, giving you all the attractions that there is for you to see in Uganda, and the travel news, telling you what is trending in the world of tourism in Uganda and East Africa. And in the travel news today, it is via the UTB X page. UTB launched the Uganda national brand in Botswana. It was, the launch was held in Botswana, and the CEO, Madam Lily, was escorted by other UTB members like Mr. Samora Semakula, the Quality Assurance Manager, and they launched the Explore Uganda brand in Botswana. This holds a significant, it is very significant to the country, because when you see such collaborations coming in the tourism industry, it means that these two countries are going to work together, bringing up common marketing initiatives, collaboratively marketing the destinations, making joint tourism packages, and it can also attract more Botswanas into the country. But there is something to learn from the show today. People from Botswana are called Botswanas. If it is one person, it is a Motswana. So if there are many, they are Botswanas. So it could attract more Botswanas into the country, but also making joint packages. So if you're selling Botswana, your package can include some activities or attractions in Uganda. The fact that foreign tourists usually do merge countries in Africa, so someone can come and say, I'm going to do Botswana, then I'll cross to Uganda. Like, you never know. So it is a good initiative. It is a good plan that UTB launched the Explore Uganda brand in Botswana. Well, being in the festive season, we are still taking you through the different delicacies that we have in the country, and these delicacies are cutting across their tribal regions. Like, you know, previously, yesterday I told you that the Luombo was only known to the Bagandas, but now it has crossed to different regions, and even today we have a delicacy that has prominently crossed to other regions, and it is no longer just confined to the Gishu people, and this is the Malewa. I don't know whether you've heard about the Malewa, but Malewa is just smoked bamboo shoots, and these are usually eaten with nuts, and I'm telling you, when you're in the regions of Umbale, Sironko, Bududa, Bulambuli, or Manafa, you never fail to get a restaurant that does the Malewa, because this is like the staple sauce or staple food for the Gishu people. And if you're on a ceremony like in Mbale region, maybe a graduation, introduction, and this is not on the menu, it is not considered to be food, because it is just like beef maybe here in the central region, how we want meat, and you see that this is fresh and this has a lot of beef. That is how they consider their Malewa, their bamboo shoots. But these bamboo shoots usually grow around the slopes of Mountain Elgon, and they are originally known to only be the only source of the bamboo shoots. So the Gishus used to get the bamboo shoots only from Mountain Elgon. However, now individuals have taken it on and they are growing it. The beautiful part about the Malewa is that it has a beautiful legend, and the people in Gishu believe that they originated from South Africa. They came to Mwanza in Tanzania, where they left some people that are now called the Ngisu people. They moved to Kenya. However, they faced a lot of resistance, and they are pushed up Mountain Elgon without food. So when the Gishu people were up in Mountain Elgon and they didn't have what to feed on, they started looking for what could they eat in that time. And they came up with the bamboo shoots. And they started having it as food. Later on, they started using it as sauce. And it became very vibrant when the Gishu people started growing groundnuts as a crop. And right now, I'm telling you guys, in Imbale, Malewa with guinness and matoke, they are inseparable. Yes, you can eat Malewa with different food like posho, sweet potatoes, Irish potatoes, but matoke and Malewa, they are inseparable in the Gishu land. And when you talk about the sustainability bit of it, because before the Malewa was gotten from Mountain Elgon, before it was gazetted as a national park, but there was some conflict. The Gishu people still had to go to the top of the mountain to get their food, and Uwa had also gazetted the park, and they didn't want people to just enter the park, and there was some conflict. However, now people that are taking it on individually to grow the bamboo shoots along the rivers and also the outskirts of the park, and they're also processing it to see that they consume it more sustainably. And for this Christmas season, this festive season, Malewa is definitely a delicacy for you that you should try on if you have never tasted it. Personally, I did, and every time I'm in Imbale, I have to do Malewa. It is super tasty and delicious. Well, for the travel tip today that we are giving you is quite simple still. It is, as you travel, as you move around, always stay hydrated. Like, move with a reusable bottle, keep taking your water. It is good for the body. It controls those small fevers. It enhances digestion. Like, just keep hydrated as you travel around. That was it for today. Thank you so much. I'm Irene Allen Sam, and we still take you around Uganda.
Hello, good morning, and good to have you here for the GMU Business Update of this very morning. I'm Joram Paul Sonko. Let's kick it off with cocoa taking root, as for decades now, when you look at cocoa growing in the country, majority of farmers in northern Uganda have been engaged in traditional crops like maize, millet, soya beans, cotton, and this was originally zoned by the colonialists. If you're to look at back in the time when we could look at the cash crops that were introduced by the colonial masters when it comes to making sure that Ugandans can earn off their agricultural produce. Now, these particular ones, according to UBOS, the poverty prevalence in Lango stands at 23%, a rise from 16% in 2017. To drive growth and poverty reduction, a section of the Lango clan leaders want cocoa production upscaled. Now, cocoa is a high-value crop that is harvested all year round. An acre accommodates around 450 trees. If you're to look at it at a spacing of 3 by 3 meters, earning about 13 meters per acre annually. That is, if you look at those who are actually engaging on a 3 by 3 meters, do earn around 13 million Ugandan shillings annually from cocoa growing in northern Uganda. Now, the Dokolo District RDC says that the initiative is in line with the president's vision and will be entirely supported to ensure that cocoa growing is boosted within the Lango region. Now, the Lango sub-region. Now, cocoa is a crop that requires less yet huge yield, and when you look at the returns, if it's business, your input is small, but the output that you're definitely getting in, or the results are quite enormous. And this is what cocoa brings to those who are growing it. When you look at it does require less, yet the yield is more than what you actually input at the time of cultivation. So those in Lango are highly putting the work in regards to cocoa growing. And of course, cocoa, when you look at countries like Ghana, who are actually one of the leading exporters and producers of cocoa You've heard of the likes of cocoyam. You've heard of the likes of, you know, if you're to look at chocolates, if you're to look at the Cadbury, cocoa powder, and the like, even when it comes to the cosmetic business. So cocoa has got quite a number of importances, if I'm to put it in that way, in regards to the kind of value addition you put to it. But besides that, let's get back home. Let's get back to the central region though. President Museveni launches SACCOs, and 1.2 billion Ugandan shillings is heading to this particular ghetto youth SACCOs. The launch did happen yesterday at the Kololo ceremonial grounds, and the startup capital shall be divided between 12 SACCOs that have been formed in Kampala, the Kampala metropolitan area. 1.2 billion shillings will be going into the 12 SACCOs. Initially there were 10 approved SACCOs, now we are having a total of 12. Now the ghetto youth in Kampala metropolitan ended the year with a smile on their face. If you look at that, there were great performances at the ceremonial grounds yesterday, and of course most of them had to showcase what they have to offer and what the upskilling in the ghetto is doing for these particular talented people. Now in his speech, President Museveni noted that money is readily available and it only requires youth to work together and also make sure that they can ideally come up with great ventures in the world of business. And also the ghetto youth leaders have applauded the president in regards to this financial support, adding that all along they've been sidelined with the fact that they did not have one initial capital, which is very, very fundamental if you want to run business in this country. And not only that, the issue to do with support, which they do believe is something, the financial support, you know, support can come in many, many ways. Partnerships, physical, tangible. Now the financial part is, I think, is the bigger support here. It is physical, it is motivational, and it gives someone a sense of direction, because they definitely know that if I get the money and input this money, it can produce more money for me. Let's head to Hoima, where the chief administrative officer has been told to deduct 50% of seating allowance over lost motorcycle. Very interesting report there. And the 50% of the seating allowance is going to Ewan James Molidambura Magambo to compensate for a motorcycle that was lost in his hands. Now Molidambula, who is the district councillor for Chingaja sub-county, allegedly lost a government motorcycle which is worth 18 million Ugandan shillings in 2017. The resolution was reached at on Tuesday during the district council meeting. Now he has to pay. Now when it comes to accountability, this is what the Hoima chief administrative officer, or the COW, is actually trying to put up there, that in case you are having public property or you've been given a duty to serve in public service, you have to do it. You have to definitely make sure that you are accountable for everything you're doing. And in here, Molidambura is likely to be paying 18 million Ugandan shillings, which was lost in his hands. Where? We will definitely find out. Lastly, from our business this morning, we look at the forex market. Now the forex market, looking at how the different currencies were faring yesterday, close of business. The US dollar was buying at 3,760.92 while selling at 3,770.92. Then by midday it was buying at 3,759.13 while selling at 3,769.13. The US dollar was buying at 3,757.21 at closing while selling at 3,767.21 as well. Now the Great Britain pound was buying at 4,779.54 while selling at 4,792.26. The euro was buying at 4,119.40 while selling at 4,130.36. The Kenyan shilling was buying at 24.38 shillings while selling at 24.44 shillings. The Tanzanian shilling was buying at 1.49 shillings while selling at 1.50 shillings. The South African rand was buying at 204.93 while selling at 205.48. So that's how you'll definitely find the currencies, the various currencies, if you are to exchange some of those, for those who are traveling or for those who are just getting back home. And well, the business community in the Kampala Central Business District is booming. When you're moving in there, you definitely need to be very, very vigilant in regards to the fact that there are quite a number of pickpocketers in town, and the overcrowding makes it even worse. During such a time, everyone wants to make business, or everyone wants to get the worm. You may be someone's worm if you're not careful at the end of it all. And for those who are traveling, the idea is very simple. Make sure you are mindful of the kind of speed you're using, and also remind your driver, if at all you are in a bus or a taxi, to drive you safely, because the year is coming to an end. Lots of accidents are taking charge, but at least we can add a voice to this particular situation. I'm Joram Paul Sonko till Monday. As of now, I'm leaving you with Olive Monica Najuma to give you more from the traffic updates.
Welcome to the traffic updates. I'm Olive Monica Najuma. Now, as you move from your place of abode, let's look at the route from Namuwongo up until we reach the business district, or the heart of the business center. Now, from Namuwongo Road, moving on to the areas of Mukwano Road, there is a smooth flow of traffic, at least where we are starting as of this minute. There is smooth flow of traffic. Now, I see a little bit of traffic coming through from 7th Street joining Namuwongo Road, but it is not intense. You should be able to move without any encumbrance whatsoever. Now, moving on again from Namuwongo Road, and I'm looking at the main access road. I don't see much traffic over there. And continuing with Namuwongo Road, where it joins with Mbogo Road and 8th Street, there is a smooth flow of traffic over there as well. Now, still looking at 8th Street, where it joins with Mukwano Road, I see green zones in this area, which are indicative of smooth flow of traffic. Now, access road over a couple of weeks ago had been closed, but it is now open, and you should be able to move without any encumbrance to the center of town. Looking at the Ginger Road roundabout, I see a little bit of a red zone over there, but it isn't much to worry about. There is a bit of traffic coming through from Old Port Bell Road joining Ginger Road, and of course for those going the side of Wampeo Avenue, it is looking pretty good as of this morning. Now, those coming through from Ginger Road Highway, Kampala Ginger Road Highway, there is smooth flow of traffic over there as well. Now, looking at the stretch between the roundabout at Ginger Road and of course where the traffic lights are, that intersection that joins Access Road to Yusufulay to Ginger Road itself, there is a bit of traffic that is coming through from the side of Old Port Bell Road and joining Access Road, but this could be mainly because of either the traffic lights there or the traffic police that are trying to manage morning traffic. Now, looking at the feeder roads around like the Winton Street, there is smooth flow of traffic over there up until where the Winton Street joins Saidi Barre Avenue, which takes you now to Parliamentary Avenue. You will experience a bit of traffic in this section for a few minutes, but moving ahead, if you're coming to the ends of Nile Avenue, you should be good to go, because from what I see here, there is smooth flow of traffic over there. Now, let's continue with the Kampala Ginger Highway and see the neighboring roads, how they are looking like. Now, coming off Kampala Ginger Highway, now we have moved into Kampala Road, and I see orange and green zones in this area. So at some point you're going to encounter some traffic that may hold you back for a few minutes, maybe 5, but moving ahead, I see a smooth flow of traffic in the area. area. Now, around Nkrumah Road, you may experience a little bit of traffic, but still it isn't much to worry about. Most of what I see, at least as of this minute, is or a few orange zones here and there, which indicate that traffic is starting to build up, but mainly red zones. But let's look at the rest of town and see how things are looking like. Now, looking at Market Square Road, there is intense traffic in this section at Market Square Road as it joins Duster Street. That entire stretch has intense traffic jam. Now, still following Duster Street to where it joins Loam Street, I see both an orange zone and a red zone. So if this is the area you're going to, or if it is the route you're planning to use, you may have to reconsider. Now, still moving ahead, I see a bit of traffic jam along the stretch, which is Loam Street, and of course an orange zone where Loam Street joins Entebbe Road. And of course, as we move along and look at Duster Street as it joins Kampala Road, there is a bit of traffic there. And of course, along Kampala Road itself, there is orange zones as evidenced by the lines you see on your screen, which indicate that the traffic has been slowed down in this area. Actually, I see traffic jam starting to build up along the section that is the Square 2 Road going on to Shimon Road. Now, Uganda Road also this morning has an orange zone for a big stretch. I see some traffic building up in this area. And of course, I see that Barton Street itself, from where it joins that small roundabout that joins William Street and Barton Street, I see traffic jam on this section. Actually, the entire Barton Street, this entire stretch is a red zone, indicative of traffic jam that has started in this area. And as Barton Street joins Kampala Road, I see orange zones over here, and as you cross through still, you will find a traffic jam on the Square 1 Road itself. And of course, Square 1, when you're incoming to town, when you're going up from town, there is still a traffic jam as you're trying to join Buganda Road. Coming back to Kampala Road, I see still red and orange zones as of this morning, but the stretch that continues to join you to Chagwe Road has smooth flow of traffic, and Chagwe Road itself has an orange zone indicative of traffic. The entire Chagwe Road, as from what you can see on your screen, shows that traffic is starting to build up in this area. And of course, Johnston Street also has traffic jam that is crisscrossing through that is William Street and Wilson Road. And going ahead at Johnson Street, up where it joins that area that has Pioneer Mall, there is smooth flow of traffic on that side of Johnson Street. But if you're going to the areas of Arua Park, you will encounter some traffic over there. Now, still looking at Chagwe Road, I see traffic over there. Now, crossing over from Kampala Road to Bombo Road after Watoto Church, I see that there is smooth flow of traffic in this area. The entire stretch, at least as for now, has smooth flow of traffic, but where it joins Queens Lane, you will encounter a little bit of traffic. But still moving along, most of the area is a green zone, which means there is smooth flow of traffic up until when you reach Wandegea. And even Wandegea itself in the town center doesn't look bad at all, so you should be able to move. Now, those heading to the side of Makerere, you will experience some bit of traffic as you go to the eastern gate, but still no red zones. At least the traffic has not become intense yet. Well, that's it that we've had for you in the traffic updates as of this morning. I hope you can be able to find a good route for you and avoid traffic jam this morning. Well, from us here at Good Morning Uganda, we continue to say that enjoy your holidays, and when you're driving, drive responsibly. Safeguard yourself and the people that are on the road. Good Morning Uganda continues. Agenda is coming up next.
UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda.
Of the day on UBC. Was brought to you by
MTN Momo Pay is the easy way to pay. Dial star 165 star 3 hash or use the MTN Momo app. You don't need cash. MTN Momo Pay is safe and free.
Junko.
Yo.
What you go? Check the shopping, man. What's your secret?
Uganda wange, haven't you heard of the parish development model PDM?
Yes, I did, but I thought it was just a talk.
No, Sebatia. It is real. I and a few friends together formed a circle, accessed money from the PDM, invested in a portrait project, and now things are moving.
Junko. I thought I was one of your friends.
You are.
But you left me behind.
I didn't leave you in poverty. What you do, just visit your LC2 chairperson and your parish chief and start the process of economic transformation. Just like that. The parish development model is an initiative from the government of Uganda through the Ministry of Local Government designed to transform all lives of Ugandans for the better. PDM, my parish, my development, my life.
UBC is the national public broadcaster. We educate, inform, entertain, and inspire our audiences. You can watch us on free-to-air channel 001, DSTV channel 282, GoTV channel 371, Star Times channel 201, Zuku TV channel 20, and Azam TV channel 350. Even when your subscription expires, you can still watch UBC for free on your pay TV platforms.
Oh God, Heavenly Father, we thank you for this time that you've given unto us this year to remember the birth of your Son, Jesus Christ. May you teach us and show us what we need to do as we remember and commemorate the birth of your Son, through Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior. Amen. What we are going to share, my dear brothers and sisters, we are going to look at the so-called Christmas. When you look at the word Christmas, which is the memorable thing that we have this year, you look at two words, the word Christ and then Mass. But whenever someone talks about the Mass, he's simply talking about an assembly of people that are having the same mind. Assembly of people having the same mind, of the same category. But Christ is simply referring to the Son of God. So when you talk about an assembly of people, then Son of God, having the same mind, means that you are simply talking about those people that are actually thinking about the Son of God, those that have decided to follow the Son of God. But is it important? Is that day of the Son of God so much important? My dear brother, I'm saying it is. Because, so the question is, does it concern me, that service, that assembly for the Son of God, does it concern me? As a matter of fact, it does. So the answer is yes. Why is it important that we celebrate the day on which the Son of God was born? We actually treasure that because of the reason we have in Romans chapter 8, verse 14 to 17. It actually reads, "For all who are led by the Spirit of God are sons of God. For you did not receive the spirit of slavery to fall back into fear, but you have received the spirit of adoption as sons, by whom we cry, Abba, Father." The Spirit himself bears witness with our spirit that we are children of God. And if children, then heirs, heirs of God and fellow heirs with Christ, provided we suffer with him in order that we may also be glorified with him. So that is why I'm saying, my dear brother, that because it is the day the Son of God was born, and when we accept him as Lord and Savior, we struggle to follow what he commands us to do. We also get that right to be adopted children of God. Adopted in the sense, let's take the example that we usually have. There are so many people in this world who decide to adopt children. In case we get an adopted child in a family, you realize that as the child continuously experiences what goes on in a family, they also happen to start calling the people they found there as father, they call them father. Then in case they found their mother, that will also be their mother. Therefore, because we have Christ as the one that is giving us the opportunity to be adopted children of God, then it means that we also become children of God. So accepting Christ as Lord and Savior, that Son who is born on Christmas, that day we remember, we gather together to remember the birth of the Son of God, it means that we are also looking at that opportunity God is giving unto us to become his children by simply accepting Jesus Christ as Lord and Savior. But when we talk about the mass, that assembly of people, who are those people? We are talking about the assembly, which is the mass, and referring to simply those people who are born of God. The people that are born of God are those that are being talked about in 1 John 3:9 and then 1 John 5:18. That in case someone decides to be born of God, to be a child of God, then they are simply saying, I will try my level best to see that I do not continue sinning. Therefore, my dear brother and sister, when we are talking about Christmas, we are simply saying we are also deciding to be born by God. And when we decide to be born by God, we are going to try our level best never to practice sin again, never to commit sin again. And that is the day we remember. That's the day we thank God for. So as we remember the day our Lord Jesus Christ was born, it's important that we indeed struggle to remind ourselves that we should do away with all sorts of sin. As we enter Christmas, as we celebrate the birth of Jesus Christ, remember that the command you have, the desire that you have, is simply to fight against sin. May God see you through as you struggle to go his way, as you struggle to search for him, as you struggle to look for what he desires you to do. In the name of God the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.
This perennial, as the name prescribes, is the project for restoration of livelihood in northern region. So it was designed to support the population in order to implement the national programs of wealth creation, improving household income, and this is done through supporting agriculture. And by supporting agriculture, you support seed production, training of farmers, mindset change, and even it went ahead to have components of food security grants, whereby families were given grants to be able to improve their food security. But there was also community-based natural resources grants, which were given to families to put in place woodlots, which would help them to reduce on killing the vegetation and deforestation, looking for energy or for firewood.
Live from UP UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda.